tonight. The darkness on the shores of Orkney was deeper than usual. The moon was hidden behind thick layers of clouds, as if it didn't want to witness what was about to happen on Earth. Ewan sat behind the cold rock, holding his breath. His hands were frozen on the stone. He knew that tonight they would come. He had heard the legends. When the sea becomes as still as glass, the world beneath the water comes up for air. Suddenly, silver lines began to form in the black water. 1, 2, 3. They rose to the surface. At first, they looked like large shadows, but as they crawled onto the sand, the scene changed. Ewan's eyes widened in disbelief. These creatures, which the world calls seals, became something entirely different on land. They peeled off their dark, shiny skins and placed them on the sand like precious robes. From inside, humans emerged, beautiful, pale as moonlight, with hair like dark seaweed. They began to dance in a circle, Ewan's eyes fixed on one of them, a girl whose eyes were so deep that if you looked into them, you would drown. In that moment, fear vanished from Ewan's heart. Only one desire remained. She must be mine. He moved forward like a shadow. The Selkies were lost in their dance, unaware of the human watching them. Ewan's hand trembled as he reached for the nearest silver skin. This was no ordinary skin. It was her soul. It was her home. It was her only way back to the ocean. He grabbed it. It felt cold as ice, yet alive. Suddenly, the wind changed direction. The Selkies smelled the human scent. Panic broke out. They ran to their skins, put them on, and dove back into the safety of the sea. All except one. Mairead. She was left alone on the shore. She ran frantically, digging into the sand, searching for her skin. But that skin was now with Ewan. Ewan stepped out from behind the rock. He held the skin tight, a strange softness on his face. Mairead looked at him. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Selkies know that once their skin is lost, their power is gone. She lowered her head in defeat. The ocean roared behind her, but she could no longer go there. That night, Ewan took her home, a living, breathing, silent doll. Years passed. Ewan married Mairead. She was a good wife. She kept his house, cooked his meals, and wove his nets. But she never spoke a word. She would sit by the window all day, watching the sea, counting the waves one by one. Ewan felt pain when he saw her, but he could not let her go. He had locked that skin in a heavy iron box, and the key was always in his pocket. They had a son named Callum. Callum was not an ordinary child. He never cried. He loved sitting by the water's edge. When he dipped his hand in the water, the fish would come to him. Mairead only smiled when she was with her son. She would hold him and hum lullabies in a strange, ancient language. But nature has a rule. Everything returns to its origin. One cold evening, Ewan left the house in a hurry, and the key that was always with him, he forgot it in his coat pocket, hanging by the door. Outside, a storm was brewing. Mairead was alone. Her eyes fell on the coat, then on the key, glinting from the pocket. Her heart pounded. An unknown force pulled her toward that iron box. The box opened. A scent of salt and ocean air filled the room. There, in the darkness, the skin was glowing. Mered picked it up with trembling hands. She pressed it against her cheek. It felt like taking a breath after years of drowning. Just then, the door opened. Ewan had returned. He saw the skin in her hands. He didn't speak. He didn't fight. Because this time, her eyes were not empty. This time, her eyes were full of life. Mered looked at Ewan. There was no hate in her gaze, only a sad gratitude. She kissed her sleeping son Callum on the forehead. She whispered something in his ear, and then she walked out the door into the storm. Ewan followed her to the beach, not to stop her, but to say goodbye. At the water's edge, Mered put on the skin. Her human form melted away. In an instant, she became a beautiful silver seal. She dove into the water. The ocean embraced her like a mother holding a lost child. Ewan sat down on the sand. The storm had passed. The sea was calm again. The moon came out from the clouds, painting a silver road on the water. Mered was home, far out in the water. The seal turned back once and then disappeared into the deep. Now there was only peace. The waves coming in and going out, coming in and going out. This is the eternal song of the sea. It washes away every pain. They say Ewan and his son would often sit there at night, and they were not alone. The waves touched their feet as if someone was remembering them. Everything was okay. Everything was in its place. Silence, peace, and the deep blue sea. This was today's story. Sometimes love means letting go. If you are still awake, close your eyes and feel the rhythm of the waves. You were listening to The Midnight Novel. Stay with us, for the next chapter will open in your dreams. Good night.